Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fragrant Bunker. Today we're going to touch base on the top 10 perfumes from Sex and the City. And just like that. You know, there's been a character evolution of all of these characters from the 90s series all the way up until today, 2023, as we're watching Sex and the City / and Just Like That Season 2. So, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, thumb up this video if you're enjoying it, and let's get to the first perfume dedicated to, or as I would see it, worn by Miranda Hobbs. This is the one, y'all. I know I have a green screen on, so you don't really see it very well, but it is Elizabeth Arden's Green Tea, hence why the green. You can see it relatively well here. Green Tea is from Francis Kurkdjian, one of his other claims to fame. I mean, he's also very famous for Le Mal by Gaultier in the mid-90s, the first perfume he ever made him super famous, but in the late 90s, he did another bestseller, and that would be Green Tea. So 1999 also coincides very well with the initial launch years of Sex and the City. So Miranda is still very youthful, young. She wants to become the partner of her law firm. And this fragrance, truth be told, is very much office friendly, office appropriate. Now I can read to you some of the notes in this fragrance. So we got top notes: lemon, bergamot, mint, orange, peel, rhubarb. And then mid notes plus base notes share common accords, which would be jasmine in both mid and base. And then oak moss, mid and base notes. Then back to the mid notes: fennel, musk, carnation, white amber, regular amber in the base notes, with green tea in the base notes, musk, celery seeds, caraway, and cloves. So it does sound like a humongous amount of ingredients and accords and nuances in there, but truth be told, have it here. It is very, very subtle and office appropriate. Now, interesting to note about Miranda, you know, how her character is in the show. She doesn't take any prisoners. You know, she's a lawyer, but not just because if she doesn't like something, immediately there is almost like no compromising with her. You know, she's like, either it's a yes or it's a no. And sure, you might think this perfume might be interesting for her so that she does not annoy anybody in the office. But truth be told, I was thinking in reverse psychology terms with this one. I thought to myself, you know, Miranda, it's not about her wanting to wear a perfume that's not going to be offensive to others she's working with, but quite the contrary. She would wear a perfume that's not offensive to her. You know what I mean? She doesn't want a perfume that overpowers her. She wants to be in control even of her perfume, and yet also wants to exude character. Green tea is the way to go, especially if you think about its original formulation from the late 90s. It had a little bit more character than it does in its current state. In its current state, it's quite watered down. Still really good, but not anymore what it used to be in the 90s when I believe Miranda wore it. There you go. That's my number one. Now, staying in the Miranda realm, I want to talk about Steve. Miranda's boyfriend on and off, then husband, then father to her kids, and they separated because, as we all know, spoiler alert, Miranda ended up with Diaz now. For how long, we don't know. But Steve Hobbs, my dears, what would Steve wear? And I'm thinking more the Steve of the beginning of the show, when he was a bartender, you know, didn't have much money really, was living in a tiny little one-room apartment, still liked to keep clean whenever he could. And I believe, and I don't have this perfume here, so I have a photo to show you. I believe that Steve would be Old Spiced up, the cologne version of Old Spice. This is what I believe Steve would be wearing. And Old Spice is from 1938. The cologne was launched first in 1938. The ingredients are nutmeg, star anise, aldehydes, orange, lemon, mid notes. We got carnation, pimento, cinnamon, heliotrope, geranium, jasmine. Base notes are musk, benzoin, vanilla, tonka bean, cedar, and ambergris. Now, in the current version of Old Spice, and my dad used to wear it a lot together with tabak, but Old Spice here for Steve, there's like a powdery carnation, clovey carnation-y accord in there. Current version does not have the ambergris. It has some ambroxan or something else in there, but it's a classic, humble, modest, and yet determined cologne. And I do believe that this cologne is really, really good for Steve. You know, it was on the cheaper side. It was something that's more affordable to him, but that still kept him smelling clean and fresh and respectable and quite cleanly put together. And also Old Spice, because it's such a traditional smell, I do believe that it would blend well with Miranda. I think Miranda would not be annoyed by Old Spice. You know, it's after all, the cologne version of it is very much, it evaporates after a certain while. It stays close to the skin. It smells masculine and clean, but it has that clovey, carnation-y, soft side to it, which, you know, Miranda needs. She needs a little bit of a feminine touch within the masculinity. Although I want to say that, in my opinion, Steve wore Old Spice before he met Miranda. But after he met Miranda, he kept on wearing it because she found it okay. This is just my speculation, you guys. Everything I say in this video is for entertainment purposes only, not rooted in truths or facts. Everything is, you know, just alleged. And we're just kind of having a little bit of a make-believe session, what we think these characters are wearing. So that would be Steve. Now, Miranda then moves on from Steve in the first season of And Just Like That, and she gets to know Che Diaz. And Che Diaz is a gender non-conforming character in the show, so I guess born biologically a woman, but now not defined as male or female. So Che Diaz. What perfume would Che Diaz be wearing? Well, I think I nailed this one. What do you guys think? Guess in the comment section down below. Thumb up this video. But while you're guessing, I'm going to count to 3 and then I'm going to reveal what it is while you have the time to type it out. 1, 2, 3. I mean, it's a bit of a cliche, I know, but I love this for Che. Fahrenheit by Dior, and this would be, of course, the Eau de Toilette concentration. Now, there used to be a cologne as well back in the 80s. So Che maybe has a vintage bottle of Fahrenheit cologne, but also Che might have the current version, as I do. Well, current version, I have the formulation from 2018. So this is batch code, what is this thing? 7Z01, so you do the math. Okay, so this, and why am I saying it's a bit of a cliche? Because, and again, if Che is gender non-conforming, you can't really say that Che is a lesbian because they are into Miranda. And I'm not going to go into the definition of what they are. Are they heterosexual? Are they gay? It doesn't matter. But the cliche of the 80s Fahrenheit is that, and 90s, is that it was a very, very beloved perfume by the lesbian community. Is that the case still today? My fellow lesbians out there, let me know in the comment section down below if you're still into Fahrenheit. But I chose Fahrenheit for Che because, well, first of all, launched in 1988. The perfumer behind it is Jean-Louis Sezouac, really hard for me to pronounce, Michael Almarac, and Maurice Roger. Those names be difficult. But I chose it particularly because of that non-conforming smell. You see, Fahrenheit doesn't smell like your regular perfume. It's not sweet. It has that, you know, that gasoline accord in there as well. So it has an edge to it. It's very particular. Starts off with nutmeg, lavender, cedar, chamomile, mandarin orange, hawthorn, bergamot, and lemon. First originally targeted to men, marketed to men. But as you guys know, I always say perfume knows no gender. So to me, it doesn't really matter. Wear what smells good on your skin. Mid notes, again, nutmeg, cedar, sandalwood, violet leaf, carnation, honeysuckle, jasmine, lily of the valley, and then the base notes hit the leather accord. Vetiver, musk, amber, patchouli, and tonka bean. It's a rebel of a perfume, you know. It goes places. It's very non-conforming. There's an edge to this one that can be quite annoying to some. So it's a perfume that you love or hate, really. There's no middle ground with Fahrenheit. The only middle ground I might allow Fahrenheit is if you don't like it from the get-go, there is a possibility, an opportunity for you to get used to it and love it bit by bit. It was the case for me. When I first smelled Fahrenheit, I was like, yeah, we'll go. This is not for me. No way. But after years and years of retesting it, tentatively approaching it, tippy-toeing around it, I now love it to bits. I wear it seldomly, and I do really love the extrait form, the parfum of Fahrenheit, which is François de Machy creation. Heavy on the vanilla. It goes into the sweet accords. I don't think Che Diaz would ever wear the parfum version of Fahrenheit. I like it because it's a little bit less all over the place, and there's less of that gasoline accord in it. So for me, the parfum is a little bit more wearable, although this one is a masterpiece. It's very much a conceptual fragrance, and I think it suits Che to a T, honey, to a T. So that would be my number 3 and dedicated to Che. Now, number 4, let's jump to Seema. Seema is a new character, just like Che from the end, just like that continuation of Sex and the City. So for Seema, I see something warm. I see something sensual. I see something that was released in 2019. I see something made by the perfumer Antoine Maisondieu. Antoine, darling, sweetie darling, I don't know if I butchered your name, darling. Please do forgive me. But I don't have a full bottle of this one. It's kind of been discontinued in its absolute form, but I do have a sample. And I think Seema is born for Armani Code Absolute. This is how the bottle looks like. And I'm thinking of purchasing a bottle of this if I find one still, but I've done a kind of a sniff test trial run sniff of the sample a year or two ago, also on my channel. You can go check it out, in kind of a batch of fragrances that I've been testing. So you can see half the vial is gone. But let's, you know what? Have another perfume here, which we're going to get to later, but there you go. Let me just get a little bit of a spritz. Not to, oh yes. Okay. Released, like I said, 2019. We got green mandarin and apple in the top notes, but then we got nutmeg in the mid notes, orange blossom, and carrot seeds. Then the base notes, we got vanilla, tonka bean, suede leather, and woody notes. It is very much Seema. Also, the color of the packaging is very much reminiscent of the outfit that the color of the outfit that she wore in episode 1 of season 2 to the Met Ball. That kind of silky, satiny gold that kind of blends into a beige, sandy accord. Gorgeous. And I also do believe that this color complements Seema's skin incredibly, right? So Seema her character is Indian in the show, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And she is a realtor, and she has character. You know, we thought she was going to be the Samantha Jones of And Just Like That, because Kim Cattrall, you know, left the show or never came to And Just Like That up until now, right? But we'll get to that in a minute. So when the show began, when And Just Like That began, I thought Seema was going to be that character, but Seema is not really like Samantha Jones. Actually, not at all. She is a character in her own right. Yes, she is strong, powerful. Yes, she loves her sexuality. She's very comfortable with her sexuality. She loves the guys and is very unapologetic about it. So there is that aspect of Samantha Jones in her, but she's softer than Samantha. You know, she's not so edgy. She doesn't deliver those puns. The writers did not write her as that kind of crude, sexualized character that always makes the puns and the jokes, right? Even though, don't get me wrong, Samantha has a very soft side to her as well. But Seema is, you know, she thinks twice before she says something. While Samantha, she goes for the jugular. Samantha being in PR, Seema being, you know, a salesperson, basically, selling houses, apartments in New York. So this perfume is very strong in character, but the edges are rounded off. There's a softness to it, you know, it's more feminine. And I do believe that this is really Seema in a bottle. Try it out. Smell Armani Code Absolu, and you tell me. When I smell this, I see Seema. Every time I smell it, I'm like, ah, that's her. That's my girl. And I love Seema's character, by the way, and I think they should give her a little bit more screen time. Anyway, on the show. So the next character is Mrs. Lisa Wexley. Now, I'm going to go very cliche with her. I like her character on the show. However, the way that the showrunners are deciding to portray her as wealthy and over-the-top fashionable make her sometimes, to me, as a character, look like a fashion victim. Quite a couple of times I had the feeling that the clothes were wearing her, she was not wearing the clothes. Even though they look great on her, even though her body is gorgeous, I think that the actress does not have that power to pull off editorial looks and make them her own. I have the feeling that the costume department gave her too much to deal with, and I think they should tone it down a little bit. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing to tone it down. I just believe that the actress in her character would shine much more if they knew how to tame it down a little bit, how to tone it down a little bit, how to give her beautiful editorial pieces, but less costumey. What I think with Lisa Wexley, I think she doesn't pull off the costumey side of fashion. You know, that's why I think they should rein it back in with her a little bit. But because they are pushing her character to look that way, okay, no shade to the actress, but to the character, I see her being a little bit of a victim to trends and styles. Sorry, but I see you wearing Baccarat Rouge 540 by Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Yes, we've already had a Francis perfume at the beginning with Miranda. That would be green tea. Here's another Francis perfume for you. That would be the Eau de Parfum concentration of Baccarat Rouge 540. Obviously, I don't have that perfume. That's I'm listing the photo. I would never have that perfume. I think it's so crazy. This perfume is literally, and I'm sorry for those of you out there who love it. I know this is a mass beloved. This is like the most beloved of niche fragrances. So much beloved that it's not even niche anymore. I mean, you know, everybody and their influencer stepmother have one, and it's become very popular on the, you know, scene. And everybody who watches TikTok, Instagram, they all kind of fall for this. This fragrance is terrible, in my opinion. It's vile. This stuff is vile. I'm sorry, I love Francis Kurkdjian, but this, it just doesn't do it for me. Now, it was released in 2015, and we got saffron and jasmine in the top notes, amberwood and ambergris in the mid notes, a terrible ambroxan, in my opinion, in there. And the base notes, fir, resin, and cedar. What can I tell you? It's like if you're a victim to trends, a victim to perfume trends, usually those people that know nothing about perfumes, nothing about perfumery, perfume history, but want to be trendy and fashionable, they're going to be like, oh, you know, I'm wearing Baccarat Rouge just to be able to tell you that they're in the know, that they're part of something. When in reality, you ask them a little bit to go deeper and be like, oh, really, sweetie, honey? Lovely. Any other perfumes you wear? No, just the one? Uh-huh. Gotcha. Sorry, Lisa, until they don't write you a little bit less as a fashion victim, until then, I see your character wearing Baccarat Rouge. Hey, maybe it smells great on you, but you know what I mean? It ends up wearing you. You don't wear it. Just like the clothes they're giving you to wear end up wearing you. You don't wear them. We got to work on that. All right. Now, the next one is Charlotte York. You're going to be shooketh when you see this one, because this is also coincidentally the first time that I will be lifting a full bottle of this perfume on my channel. And for those of you who know IYKYK, you will be shocked because you might have thought I would never, ever purchase this fragrance. Ha! Well, there's a first time for everything. Charlotte York, my dears. Yes, a full-blown 200 ml bottle of Chanel's Les Exclusives Beige in the Eau de Parfum concentration. Charlotte York. Oh yeah, this is Charlotte in a bottle. Charlotte is wearing beige in the Eau de Parfum concentration with all the hawthorn and frangipani that fills the room once you got this on you. So this one, okay. So, I mean, the Eau de Toilette was released in 2006/2007. The Eau de Parfum came a little bit later in 2016. Came the reformulation, and Jacques Polge / reformulated version Olivier Polge are the noses behind this one. So we got honey, freesia, hawthorn, and frangipani. And what can I tell you? This is my least liked of the entire Les Exclusives fragrances series. That's why it took me forever to get this one. This is coincidentally the only one that I have not reviewed yet from the Les Exclusives range. So now that I got it, review coming in soon. I'm getting used to this one. Let's put it mildly that way, okay? And why would Charlotte wear this? Well, because Charlotte is preppy. She's very organized. She's very structured. The bottle is super structured. Chanel Les Exclusives fragrances are highly structured, tailored to perfection. Not necessarily because her clothes are tailored to perfection, because Charlotte's wardrobe is often also not really very suited for her body type. The way they're dressing her with very puffy shoulders and sleeves kind of is not doing her a lot of favors. They should rethink her wardrobe. Patricia Fields is highly requested. Please come back to the show because anyway. But the perfume, she wants a structured perfume, but she also wants a perfume that is popular. But she wants it to be special. You know, Charlotte wants special things. So the Les Exclusives collection from Chanel is special. But then she's not edgy enough. Charlotte is spoiled, rich, slightly boring. So she doesn't have that edge to actually go for the edgier Les Exclusives perfumes. No, she thinks, you know, it's enough edgy to go for Les Exclusives. Chanel, that's already special. But then when she gets to choose which one of them, she's going to go for the mass pleaser, the one that most people like. You see? So not saying, I know a lot of you out there love beige, and hey, I'm getting into it slowly too. So, you know, it is what it is. But it's the hawthorn in here that I really don't like. But there's that kind of hairdresser salon, after they cut your hair, they do a hair treatment routine type of chemical smell in here, which is the frangipani hawthorn mix that makes this smell clinical in a way, and preppy, very, very preppy, and I'm sorry to say anally retentive. So, and that's Charlotte to a T. Now, how do you get over that in this smell? You don't. You either go with that retentive note in here, and you play with it, and you kind of play with it in a way that you make fun of yourself while you're wearing it. Otherwise, this thing ends up suffocating you. So you have to be a special type of person. That type of preppy and conservative, like Charlotte, to be able to pull this one off. And I do believe this smells perfect on her. I think this is literally her in a bottle. Now, having said all that, I'm not coming for you if you're wearing beige and if you're loving beige. Like I said, I'm getting into it as well. So let's see. I'm testing it. I'm experimenting with it. I'm wearing it every couple of days, you know, discovering new nuances. You know, I'm working on delivering a proper review for this one. But that would be Charlotte York. Now, the next one on my list is Carrie Bradshaw. Yes, we've come to Carrie Bradshaw. Now, it took me the longest I don't know. It's been difficult. Between Carrie and Samantha, those are the two that took me the longest to figure out what they're wearing. But Carrie really, once this perfume came to my mind in connection with Carrie Bradshaw, I was certain, 1000%, she would be wearing this perfume. And I don't own a bottle because I don't really care for this perfume that much. But maybe one day I will. But anyway, here you go. We'll go. This would be Noah by Cattrall, the Eau de Toilette. Now, let me try to make this a little bit lighter so maybe you see a little bit better. Okay, now you see it even less. But it's like a pearl. The bottle is like a pearl. There's a little pearl inside the bottle. The sprayer works in a special way. You know, it's a whole conceptual type of bottle like Cattrall perfumes usually are. You know, we have Aiden, we have Lulu. They all have special bottles. Then we have Yes I Am in the shape of a lipstick. Not that Cattrall was the first brand to do a lipstick container for perfume, but we digress. Why Noah? Well, it was released in 1998. Coincidentally, the time when Sex and the City was released. The nose behind this one is Olivier Cresp. And Noah is a small planet in your hand with a pearl inside, Cattrall tells us. Noah is a transparent composition of flowers, delicate spices, velvety fruit nuances, and the energizing power of coffee beans. You know how Carrie loves her coffee. And her cigarettes. This fragrance is like a tender whisper, feminine and subtle, weightless but with a noticeable presence. Tender powdery top notes. Here we go. White musk, freesia, peony, green notes, peach, plum, mid notes, lily, lily of the valley, jasmine, ylang ylang, rose, and green grass. Base notes, sandalwood, vanilla, coriander, incense, coffee, cedar, and tonka bean. I think, you know, this was a very popular perfume in the late 90s, in the early 2000s. A bunch of people wore it. It's a very generic, pleasant perfume. And I think that's Carrie Bradshaw. She's quite generic. This is why a lot of people love her. She's generic. She delivers generic puns about sexuality in her article that she writes, Sex and the City. You know, she's that type of girl that's going to kind of act like she's cool. You know, she can handle all of these conversations. But then, as we've seen in season 2 of And Just Like That, when they tell her, hey, on the podcast, we got to do a sponsorship. And the sponsorship is about a vaginal cream, something freshener or something. That was too much for her. She was like, oh, I can't handle. Oh, my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. I can't do that. That's the type of personality she is. You know, she wants to be, but she can't. In a way, a wannabe. And plus, you know, she hurt Aiden like nobody's business, and I'll never forgive her for that. So, plus, you know, I don't think she's really big on perfumes. Yes, she's big on fashion, on wearing all of these designers and wearing all of these shoes. And, you know, there's this whole mythology surrounding her wardrobe. But if you really, really think about it, when it comes to perfumes, she doesn't have a strong character, you know. I'm not saying that Noah is a bad perfume. Not at all. I think it's a very decent standard fragrance for a decent standard girl that has some issues. You know, nothing special, but it's there. I think this is her in a bottle. What do you guys think? Which perfume would Carrie Bradshaw wear? If not Noah by Cattrall? We're going to get to Aiden, but first I want to get to Mr. Big / John. So Mr. Big, as we all know, spoiler alert again, in episode 1 of season 1 of And Just Like That, we lost Mr. Big. We lost Mr. Big, and he's gone. So his character is no longer with us. But what perfume was he wearing? Now, I envision the day they first met in season 1. I always thought he was wearing this perfume in season 1. And then the more the seasons progressed, the more I thought he's wearing this perfume all the time. And I kind of believe he wore this perfume till the day he passed in the show. On the Peloton. We lost Mr. Big to a Peloton. Anyway, that would be Anteos by Chanel. I really, really see him wearing this. This is a perfume by Jacques Polge released in the early 80s. for Chanel. Very heavy on the ambery, woodsy, cedary accord, and honey. A lot of honey in here. It's a dirty, dirty honey, and it's a beautiful powerhouse fragrance from the 80s. This is a man that has shoulders that don't need a shoulder pad, but he still adds shoulder pads on top. He is a businessman in charge of his life. He is a millionaire. He knows what he's doing. He gets the women he wants. He's very sure of himself, right? But he can also show a tender side if, you know, he gets pushed in the wrong direction and he falls for the wrong woman and marries the wrong woman and realizes the mistake he made and then backtracks, backpedals, goes into that insecurity phase, has issues with his health ultimately, with the heart, which is what gave up on him at the end. And I think Anteos is the fragrance that he kind of wore his entire adult life. You could argue and say, yeah, he's more the Creed type. And I want to give Mr. Big a little bit more of a benefit of the doubt and be like, really? Is he going to be that superficial? I hope not. I hope he sticks to Anteos wherever he is right now. And this intense fragrance is so beautiful and it's so determined, precise, and strong, viral. So I definitely think that's what Carrie at least sees in Mr. Big. So in a way, it's almost like when she smelled him wearing this, she went all cuckoo, you know? I know I would. Anyway, Mr. Big, Anteos, Chanel, Eau de Toilette. And now we get to Aiden Shaw. Now, Aiden Shaw is kind of the rebound dude that Carrie was dating. And it was getting really serious between them. But then Mr. Big came into the picture again. And then she kind of starts cheating on Aiden with Mr. Big. And ultimately leaves Aiden for Mr. Big. Now, I've been just rewatching a couple of episodes from season... where am I now at? Season 3 or season 4 from the OG Sex and the City. It was the season where she started dating Aiden and then Mr. Big comes back to her. And then they start having an affair behind Aiden's back. And in one of these scenes, coincidentally, as I was compiling my list of fragrances for all of these characters, there was a scene where Carrie is with Mr. Big in bed in her apartment. And Mr. Big is like, I can smell Aiden on these sheets. You know, he's like disgusted by it. Like, oh, Aiden, this country boy, he smells like, you know, barnyard or whatever. And then Carrie turns around and tells Mr. Big, and I would love to show you this clip, but copyright, you know, you can't. But so she turns around to him and she literally tells him, Aiden doesn't wear cologne. And then Mr. Big makes fun of him. Oh yeah, that's why he's stinky, blah, blah, blah. You know, country boy, barnyard, blah, blah, blah. So Carrie gives us the intel and tells us Aiden doesn't wear perfume. She says cologne. He doesn't wear cologne. But this is where I'm at now. So Aiden comes back and just like that, season 2. He has evolved. We haven't seen the episode as I'm filming this video. I haven't seen the episode yet with Aiden in it. So I don't know how he evolved. You know, has he matured or not? I want to think he has. And I want to think that he is now wearing perfume, but he is the dude. So he's going to need a perfume that actually says man on the perfume. But Aiden does furniture. He works with wood. He also wants his fragrance to be kind of connected to nature. Slightly niche. It's a fragrance that he's going to wear a perfume that has a natural aspects to it. That's going to give him that vibe of, you know, the boy next door, but he's a healthy guy. You know, he's just a guy's guy. You know, he's going to fix your light bulbs. He's going to fix your floors. Yeah, he's going to work you in the barnyard. And he's going to wear a little perfume when he takes you out to dinner. And that perfume is going to have a wooden stopper. Of course, Aiden is going to want a stopper or the lid of the perfume or the cap of the perfume to be made out of wood, something naturalistic. Listen, and I don't own this fragrance, so I'm going to lift it up on a photo here. It's Loewe 001 Man. Okay, it's Loewe Man 001. I mean, you can see the packaging The box has that plant on it. The bottle has a wooden cap on it. This is just the aesthetics. It's like a perfume he would buy. Aiden would be attracted to this. And then, you know, if we read more into it and try to figure out, you know, basically the perfume came out in 2016. Loewe 001 Man. The nose behind it is Emilio Valeros. And then the text that the brand gives us is the new fragrant pair from the House of Loewe. So we got woman and man. Is launched in late August 2016. They are announced as deep, tender, and appealing fragrances that reinterpret the scent of a skin caress. Classic Aiden. Classic Aiden. Loewe Man opens with a clean and fresh mixture of Calabrian bergamot, mandarin, and cardamom. The intensive woody heart blends tart notes of cypress wood with sandalwood, cedar, and vetiver, enriched with a cloud of ambrette seed and carrot seed. The base includes essences of violet, white musk, and earthy Indonesian patchouli. So as you can see, Aiden works with wood. He makes furniture. That's why I chose a perfume. It has cardamom, which has a woodsy accord, ambrette, musk mallow, very woodsy, cedar wood, sandalwood, a cypress wood, vetiver, a root, earthy tones, patchouli, violet accord. You know, all of these are very grounded, are very soil-based, very, very earth-based, very, very grounded fragrance. I think this is Aiden to a T. If he were to start wearing cologne, like Carrie said, it would be 001 Man by Loewe. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Now, and thumb up the video if you're liking it, and subscribe. And then, of course, we have our number 10, last but not least. If I have anything to say about it. That was Moira Rose mixed with Samantha Jones. Our last character is Samantha Jones, you guys. This is our 10th fragrance. And this one, like I said before, between Carrie and Samantha, it took me the longest time to envision their characters. And I have an idea here. Okay, Samantha is the only one where I will pitch 2 perfumes. So technically we're bending the rules. These are top 10 Sex and the City fragrances, but actually there's also an 11th, a bonus fragrance. But Samantha Jones begins in the late 90s in the show with a fragrance from the 80s. Now, a perfume from 1985. And as I said, the date, a lot of you are going to start commenting down below. I know what you're going to say, but it's not the thing. It's not the perfume you think. A lot of you are going to say Poison, Christian Dior, right? That's very much Samantha. No. It did come to mind, but no. No. There's something more sophisticated about Samantha. Something more sophisticated. Nobody's going to guess. This perfume was released in 1985, and this is the Samantha Jones of the early years of Sex and the City. You guys, I have thought about this for a long time. Samantha is wearing the 1985 Fendi by Fendi, a Chypre accord with delicate leather nuances. Now, I do have a current formulation, and I do have an older formulation. And I'm wearing it right now. Oh yeah, this is Samantha. Totally. Now, she's wearing the original formula, not the newer formula. The newer formula has been butchered. But listen. The first perfume for women by Fendi is a Chypre floral fragrance with woody and spicy notes. Ideal harmonies created of intoxicating flowers, fresh spices, soothing woody notes, and gentle musk. The base notes are ylang-ylang, rose, jasmine, iris, carnation, nutmeg, patchouli, vetiver, sandalwood, cedar, amber, oak moss, and musk. We got coriander, cardamom, Brazilian rosewood, aldehydes, bergamot, mandarin orange, lemon in the top notes. Mid notes, carnation, rose, cypress, ylang-ylang, geranium, jasmine, lily of the valley. Base notes, spices, because she is spicy. Leather accord, suede leather accord, oak moss, sandalwood, amber, patchouli, cedar, tonka bean, vanilla, and musk. This is a bomb. This fragrance is Samantha Jones. Definitely. In the original formula, there's a sweetness to it that is harnessed by spiciness, by oak moss, tons of oak moss that kind of just float in there and turn this perfume into a powerhouse fragrance, but without ever being too sweet or cloying. Samantha is independent. Samantha, for a certain period of time, I thought to myself, you know what, let me give her Chanel number 19 Eau de Toilette. But then I thought, no, Chanel number 19 is too dry for her. She needs something that is a Chypre, but it needs to be an 80s Chypre that knows how to balance dryness with sweetness. It needs to run that thin line of sensuality and sexuality without ever becoming too sweet and cloying. You know, she's not that woman that hangs on her guy and is like needy. No. She gives and takes what she wants, and then she leaves. She doesn't have any problems doing that. That's Fendi. It's also a typical businesswoman fragrance, very 80s type of vibe. I want to say the perfume Fendi doesn't really match the fashion of Fendi from the 80s, but the perfume Fendi matches more like the Donna Karan of the 80s in terms of that power suit for women. That is Samantha Jones, but in perfume form. So there's sexuality there, but also professionality. She gets work done. She's on top of things. She's on top of her game. She knows what she's doing, and she does not suffer fools. That's Fendi. I'm telling you, this is Samantha Jones in a bottle. However, here's the bonus round. As time progresses and we have the issues that we have, and Kim Cattrall leaves the show, now they're redoing the show, and just like that, at season 1, Samantha was not in it. We just had some text messages exchanged between her and Carrie. But Kim Cattrall is apparently coming back for a cameo appearance. Spoiler alert, in the last episode, or second to last, maybe. A phone call between her and Carrie. So it's just going to be a very, very short snippet. Somebody alleges that the phone call is going to happen from a car. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, that would be sad if she's in a car. I want to see more of the environment she's in. I want to see her in her apartment or in a hotel room. I want to see decor. Even though it's a short scene, I want to see not just what she's wearing. In a car, it's kind of hard to see what she's wearing. I want to see her standing up in her room in a hotel or in her apartment in London. And I want to see a camera panning, full body shot. I want to see her, full body. I want to see her move through the room with the phone, sit down, talk. But if she's just in a car, we're just going to see her from here on up. Darkness of the car around her. If it's a limo or not, who cares, I just hope it's going to be in an apartment. Anyway, modern day Samantha that has moved to London from New York, like we've heard in season 1 of And Just Like That. She's more niche now, and she doesn't like the reformulated version of Fendi either, so she's not wearing Fendi anymore. She's moving into softer, sweeter territories. Just like Kim Cattrall accepted to join, and just like that, even though only for a cameo, and even though she said allegedly her conditions were, I don't want to act in the same room with any one of the other main girls, and I don't want to see Michael Patrick King either. Okay, those are my conditions. And then Patricia Field styled her. So if Patricia Field styled Kim Cattrall, you best believe I want to see her standing up. I want to see the full look. I don't want to see her in a car. But anyway, the modern day Samantha is sweeter. Also because Kim is sweeter. She accepted to come back, even though for a cameo, probably for a ton of money. I don't care. I still want to believe she did it for us fans. And that sweeter side of Kim reflects on the sweeter side of Samantha. Samantha is now also not that aggressive. She's not living in New York after all. New York is way more cutthroat than London. So she's mellowed a little bit, but mellowed in the best of ways. She's still very sexual. She's still very, very burlesque in her own way. This is, for me, Samantha Jones of today. Fleur Burlesque by Wilhelm Parfumerie. This is a gorgeous white floral accord. Gardenia Ylang Jasmine masterpiece. I adore this perfume. This is a woman that has matured, Samantha Jones, the best of ways. She's like a fine wine. She is bubbly, just the right amount, and she has found herself now. The shoulder pads are back. She is a powerhouse of a woman. She's successful. She conquered America. Now she's conquering Great Britain as well. And she does it with grace and sweetness, but with determination. That's exactly what Fleur Burlesque is. All this while remaining very sensual and sexual. I love Fleur Burlesque. I adore this perfume. It's kind of the reinterpretation, the modern day vibe, the modern day version of Giorgio Beverly Hills. And maybe Samantha would have worn Giorgio in the early 80s and then shifted on to in the late 80s to Fendi. But then in the 2020s, she definitely shifted to Fleur Burlesque. Oh, it's chef's kiss, this little fragrance. So, my dears, I hope you've enjoyed this top 10/11 perfumes for Sex and the City / and just like that. Let me know what your top 10 would be for these characters or in general for the series. And if you've liked my video, thumb it up, subscribe, and join for more. See you soon. Bye.